Hey tea heads, this is Don. We may have a very, very big problem with Find Your Sunshine 2. So yesterday we filmed the video, the Christmas video for Find Your Sunshine 2, and we had a delicious session with this tea. But during the session, I noticed something, and in fact we caught it on camera. So let's check out the footage. The cake.
No, it's true.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, that does not look good. Is that from the paper? Looks like glue. Oh no, I think it's
What? It's mold. So you can see that I noticed some white marks on the tea cake, and I'm going to show you them close up now. You see these white marks here? And obviously this raised some alarms, and I was thinking, oh, is it paper rubbing off? Well, there's also a nafe missing on this cake, but anyway, that's beside the point. And so we went to get the other cake, and actually the other cake was fine. You can see here, this one was fine, no problem, no white marks. And so we enjoyed a session, and then we finished filming, and then we went back in, and we had taken from the warehouse one tong of this tea. And so we thought, well, let's open up the other three. Two of them were fine, just like the one we tasted. No marks, no visible marks. But the last one, you can see some white marks there, which is almost certainly mold. Oh, my heart just dropped, and I did not sleep well last night. Very, very, very stressful. We have over 1,000 cakes of this tea. It was very popular, Find Your Sunshine 1, so we were confident to buy a lot for Find Your Sunshine 2, and I love the material, and it is a great tea. And so that's sort of well over $50,000 worth of tea sitting in our warehouse. And so now we need to find out what's going on. And the reason I'm filming this is because a lot of you have asked for behind the scenes of what goes on as a tea seller in my life. So I thought I would just share this with you. Hopefully this doesn't see the light of day and everything gets sorted out and there's no issue. I would love that if this video never sees YouTube. But we have to obviously figure out what's going on. So really, there are two options here, or two possibilities. Either there is water damage that comes from externally, in other words, after it's been packed. Maybe it's just affecting this tong. Maybe it's just affecting the box that I happen to pick out, the one box I happen to pick out, although I do not recall any damage to the box, and there was certainly no damage, water damage, to the tong, but it is possible that it's isolated to sort of one tong or one box, or we can figure out some way of isolating it. The second possibility, which I dread, is that the cakes were not dried properly before wrapping. So obviously it gets steamed and pressed, and then the cakes need to sit and dry for a while, and there was no rush on these cakes, so there's no reason why it would have been rushed. But it is possible, maybe with the environment, the humidity, maybe it didn't dry enough, that the cakes were wrapped without being perfectly dry, and that would cause mold. And obviously that would mean that potentially the whole batch has been affected. We've already sent pictures of what I've shown you here to our suppliers, but bear in mind that there are quite a few people in the chain here. There's the farmers, they're not involved. There's the sort of suppliers who helped to blend these teas, and then there's the factory, the pressing factory that actually pressed it and wrapped it. And they're all gonna be blaming each other, and they're all gonna be blaming, you know, that it's not them, and it must be water damage from the sea freight or all this stuff. So I predict that this is going to unravel into a bit of a mess. But the first thing that we need to do is go to the warehouse and figure out, you know, how big this problem is. As I said, it could be very isolated. Maybe we open up 3 or 4 tongs and they're all fine. Every cake is fine. Obviously, that means we're opening up cakes, which means we can't sell them. And also, there's always this gonna be this fear in me, like, well, you know, if we open up 3 tongs and they're all fine, I still need to find out where the problem is, because I can't just release a cake not knowing what caused this, you know. And so we're gonna have to open up a fair few cakes and have lots of them, in fact all of them, fine for me to feel confident to release. All that means is that we're wasting cakes, we're using cakes, and this is just the worst case scenario, because I can't, like, what am I supposed to do? I can't release a tea, all these cakes, 1,000 cakes, I can't release them unless I'm sure that there isn't a problem that is sort of intrinsic to the batch. Anyway, I have to go to the warehouse to find out. I'm going to bring you along with me, but I can't go today. It's Saturday, and I promised my little girl that I was going to go to her friend's birthday party, and then I have to go to Camden because we've got staff shortages in Camden because COVID has meant that some of our staff have had to self-isolate because they were around people who had COVID, etc., etc., etc. So it's all a bit chaotic, but I'm not going to be able to relax, and it's always going to be on my mind. I need to get over to the warehouse. I'll bring you along with me when we go to the warehouse, and hopefully we can get this resolved. Okay, so I've located the original box that I took the tongue out of, and as you can see, unfortunately, it looks, strange thing to say, but it looks like it's in perfect condition. It was wrapped up in this material here and stored. I mean, the box looks perfectly dry. This is what I was kind of hoping that I'd come here and I'd see some obvious damage to one box or something. So here we go. Let's see if this one has mold. I normally get so much pleasure opening up tongs, but this is one time when I'm sort of dreading what I'm going to find in here. Alright, find your sunshine. Here it is. Every time I open up a tongue, a cake, it means that, you know, obviously I can't rewrap it in the same way as them, so I can't sell it. Maybe we can break it up as samplers, but you know. Yep. There it is. What I didn't want to see. Right. I've located another box here. Completely sealed up. Exactly the same as the other one. So let's see. You know, if this one is fine, it still doesn't really mean that we're out of the woods, because unless I know the reason why that particular box, if it is only isolated to that box, has a problem, I can't be confident to release the tea. And you know, one of the bad things about caked teas is wrapped caked teas. It's finished, it's wrapped, so I can't inspect all the tea and then figure out what my issue is. I need to open up the cakes, and to open up the cakes again means that I can't really sell it. I mean, I could rewrap it, but it would not look as good. Just wouldn't be what we want, really. So here we go. You can see that it's wrapped up really nicely. Again, no problems there. Double wrapped full of plastic. Dreading what I'm going to find here. It's Sunday here. Last night I again didn't sleep that well, not just because of this, but my little girl, she went to a birthday party yesterday, and I don't know, every time you go to a birthday party, it's just like a germ factory. So she had inevitably a fever last night, so the whole night was up sort of taking care of her and trying to nurse her fever. So yeah, not exactly the most peaceful of nights. And here we go. Find your sunshine. One more go. So this is the second box. Yep. This is a problem with the whole batch. And it does look like it's on the actual Chen Pi that the problem is. You can see it's sort of following all of the strips of the Chen Pi. Not that that makes any difference to anything. So, as I had kind of suspected, but had hoped that it wouldn't be the case, the entire batch of Find Your Sunshine 2 now has to be called into question. I could keep opening boxes and keep trying to figure out something, but this box was on a different palette to the other box, and it's in a perfectly good condition, the box. So I think that this is a problem at source. This is a problem with them either not drying the cake properly or not factoring in the fact that there's chenpi in it with extra, I don't know, sugars or extra moisture or extra oils. I don't know. As I said, we have reached out to the supplier, and even though it's the weekend, normally suppliers would be reacting and getting back to us. They're normally on 24 hours a day, or at least 7 days a week. The fact that she has not replied is actually, I'm actually kind of comforted by that in a weird sense, because it makes me feel like, okay, she's taking this seriously. She's going to want to talk to the factory. She's trying to get her information, I'm guessing, and it is the weekend, so she's going to probably reply tomorrow or sometime next week. But what do we do from here? All the time and effort that has been spent sourcing this tea, finding the choux pu'ers. We tasted loads of choux pu'ers, finding it, you know, the sampling fees, my agent's fees, my staff here trying to find it. And then, of course, you know, Celine working so hard to do this beautiful cover. All of that time and money and resources spent on making this cake, and then getting it pressed, getting it printed, getting it shipped, going through all of the custom formalities to get it here. And not to mention the fact that, you know, you've got the price of this expensive tea and that aged chenpi from Xinhui. You know, I don't know how much money this is going to lose us, but we have to figure out how we're going to get some sort of compensation for it. It's very, very difficult now. This is like the worst situation, because whose fault is it? How are you going to assign blame, and who's going to pay up for it? And, you know, we've got all the tea here, so I can't exactly refuse it. It's all here. And so, yeah, to be continued.
So here we are, it's now May 2022, 5 months since I last spoke to you, but you can see by the smile on my face and the setup here that we can finally unveil Find Your Sunshine 2. Let me quickly give you a brief catch up of what's been happening. So to be fair to the producer, it only took about 2 or 3 weeks of sort of back and forth. We opened up lots more tongs and showed them that it was moldy. A lot of them were moldy. A lot of the cakes were moldy, just on the surface, but still, that's all that matters, really. And they agreed to remake the teas for us. Thankfully, they had enough material and enough of the aged chenpi to remake the cakes. The cause of this problem, we believe, we can't test for sure, but we are almost certain that it was due to the fact that the amount of time left for drying the cakes was factored for the tea. So there's a sort of standard amount of time that you leave the cakes for to dry if it's just tea. But the extra addition of the aged chenpi meant that probably some extra moisture was retained, and that meant that they wrapped it just a bit too early, probably just 1 or 2 days early, and that is what caused all of this issue. So what we've asked them to do is press them again for us, dry them very, very slowly for a very long time, just so that we were absolutely sure, and then wrap them in these specially designed. See, this is what I love about, you know, problem solving, is when you find problems, you find solutions, and those solutions can lead you forward, because I really love this style of wrapping tongs. So this is now a breathable bag, which was created especially for this. And here we go. Find Your Sunshine 2 is finally ready for us to unveil. Now, I will tell you that I did, of course, open up a couple of cakes of another tong just to make sure that there was no issues. And I'm going to open this live now in front of you. So let's hope that there's no more issues and we can put that whole saga behind us and actually get to enjoy some tea. So here we are. Find Your Sunshine 2. Finally, you can look at the cover properly. The aged tangerine is the sun, as it was in the first. Find Your Sunshine, and this desert foreground with all these little sort of lights in the background. I was picturing with Celine those films, sort of Americana films, where you sort of have people drive up on a lookout, and they look out across sort of a small town. Think E.T. Think of those films from the sort of 80s and 90s, with sort of this desert backdrop and this little town in the foreground as the sun sets. Lovely cover, I think, from Celine. Again, she's knocking them out of the park recently. So let's see, let's hope that this tea does not have any mold. I'm pretty confident, but you never know. After seeing me unwrap all those other cakes, I'll let you see first. Yeah, look at that. Absolutely clean. That's what we want to see. So Find Your Sunshine 2. Let's quickly scope this tea. Finally, I can scope this tea with you. This is season spring 2018 for the ripe PuErh and 2014 for the Chenpi. So the Chenpi is a Xinhui Chenpi, so from that very famous area of Guangdong that makes the best Chenpi, aged since 2014. It's the same Chenpi that was used in Find Your Sunshine 1, but the ripe tea here is completely different, and I really wanted to switch up the ripe tea, have something with a little bit more creaminess and a little bit more roundness in the taste. So this is a 2018 Mengku Linsang ripe PuErh from old trees, old arbor trees. It's not gushu, but it's old tree material. I should say the cultivar is the Daiyezhong variety. So Mengku area, very, very loved area. There's a certain character of Mengku teas, and a Mengku old arbor ripe PuErh, that's what we selected. So I was so happy that they still had enough in stock to make another round of cakes. Picking and processing is going to be a button up to 3 leaves. Elevations around 1,450 meters. Do you like these tong bags? I really, really like them. I'm thinking of getting more made. I mean, we made them specially for this production because I was so paranoid about, it happening again, about any moisture being kept in the Chenpi. But I didn't think it was necessary, but it was just that added safety. Right, let's break into this. You can see the color of the leaves. Nice carobs and deep plummy browns, and the Chenpi, a good proportion of Chenpi, nothing stingy here, a good proportion of Chenpi in there to make sure that you get a really nice combination ratio of the deep, the dark, and the rich ripe PuErh, and the refreshing, albeit still medicinal and aged taste of the Chenpi. I'll put that to the side. I'll put it here to the side, and I'll get another cake out of this lovely tong bag. They really are growing on me, these tong bags. When I saw them come in after we looked at designing them, I was very, very, very happy with those. Okay. Unfortunately, Celine couldn't join me on this one. We did actually film a whole video for our Christmas video last year, and we enjoyed a session together. Delicious tea. I mean, really delicious tea, even though it had that slight little marking of mold on it. But obviously, I could not release a tea that I didn't feel confident with and that had some signs of mold on it, and so that's where we are now. For everybody asking, what are we going to do with those cakes? To be honest with you, I don't know, but I can't release them. I know that right now, and I just want to focus on finally getting this tea out for everyone. And I will also say that whilst we did have to pay some extra costs, so we had to pay for, printing the wrappers again and the processing fees and the shipping fees, there were extra costs added that we absorbed, which I don't think is fair. It wasn't our mistake, but, we've got to try and all group together when there's a problem like this, and we don't want to sort of sour relationships. So whilst there was increase in cost, we have not carried that across to the retail price, because you shouldn't have to suffer for that. So here we go. Let's put this all away. Let's tidy up. I've got my Temple Gaiwan here, which is freshly released. Super stylized Gaiwan with an incredible, do you see that pour? This V shape it's one of the most beautiful ways to look at the tea, I think. I'll show you. Let's put the tea in here and you can see what I mean. It just displays the tea so nicely because of that sort of plunging neckline, as they say in the fashion world. It's just really, really lovely. I love it. And the pour, because of that angle, is very, very smooth. All right, here we go. Smelling nose dry leaf for the second time of this Find Your Sunshine 2. Super clean, incredibly rich aromatics that have absolutely no funk to them. They're just bright and high definition. Of course, I'm getting that mandarin, which has sweetness, it has zestiness, but it also has a depth, like a candied orange depth to it. So candied oranges. I'm getting some fudges. I'm getting a slight, very light sort of apple cellar, like a cellar note, but fruity, a fruity cellar note, if that makes any sense. But yeah, the candied oranges really, really come through. And it has a little bit of a sort of salty note as well. So it's more like sort of salted fudge. Yeah, fudge, vanilla fudge with a bit of crystal salt on it, candied oranges, and sort of a fruit cellar, if that makes any sense. Right, let's rinse this. You can see what I mean about this Temple Gaiwan. It really lends itself to a very sort of clear visual of everything happening in front of you. All right, let's put this through a filter because it will probably have some sediment. Okay. Little fishy here can get first taste of Find Your Sunshine 2. So I did, as I said, open up some cakes. I didn't taste it though. I mean, I checked, triple checked, quadruple checked that it was definitely going to be the same batch of tea. The producer said, guarantee, hand on heart, it is the same tea. So, and it does smell as sort of rich and rounded. All right, Find Your Sunshine 2, nose wet leaf. Oh, creamy butterscotch, caramel, obviously mandarins. Now it's a little bit fresher because it's been hydrated. So I can say sort of fresh mandarin peel, but always remember that this is aged, so it has more of a slightly more medicinal, concentrated note to it. And the aged stuff, for those of you who don't know, is just much more gentle on the stomach, much more potent in terms of its medicinal effects. If you want to look up the medicinal effects of Chen Pi, then just go online and do some searching for aged Chen Pi. I'm also getting a really warm bready note. Like it's not buttery, so it's not like a croissant breadiness, but it's like I've taken a white bun or a white loaf fresh out of the oven, and I've just torn it open and I'm smelling the inside. So it's not got that nutty toasted note around the outside. It's that very warm, bready, pillowy inner dough, inner bread that I'm smelling. Oh, an immaculate smell. And I was extremely picky on the PuErh that we selected for this tea. I mean, I loved Find Your Sunshine 1. It was much more mineral. It was much more sort of cleaning. I wanted this one, Find Your Sunshine 2, to be rounder and warmer. So we went through a lot of different ones. And it was a difficult decision, I have to say, because the ripe PuErh material is so good in this that I was thinking, should I just press it by itself? But no, I decided to make this luxury Find Your Sunshine 2. Again, the presentation that this Temple Gaiwan gives, I think, is gorgeous. It sort of strangely encourages you to pour slower for some reason. Take some of this excess off. Right, I am going to go through a filter again. I like to go through filters mostly with PuErhs. Color of the liquor. Put that to the side. Color of the liquor for the first infusion is already deep, dark. Got a slight hint of orange in there, so it's sort of a deep, burnished, bronzed orange brown. All right, let's see what the texture is like. Again, new TEAWARE, got a new cup. This is going to be coming in, I don't know quite when. Haven't got an ETA on it, but it is coming in for those of you who are interested. Got an oily look to it. I don't know if you can see that, but it definitely has an oily look to it. It's sort of, it's got a sort of slick oiliness on top. That might be also contributed by the oils of the Chenpi. Texture is medium thick, oily, moving to a light, gentle quench. But the initial, the mouthfeel, whilst the liquor is in the mouth, is thick and oily. Lovely. Okay, now let's dive into the taste. So the mandarin peel is not in any way overpowering, but it is certainly present. And you can see the sort of ratios that we select. I can't quite remember the exact ratios that we chose, but it's, you know, we spent a lot of time talking with the producer and trying to work out the right ratios. I think it's the same as we had with Find Your Sunshine 1. And so it's very cohesive. You get, of course, the mandarin, but I'm also getting a lovely meshing with the creamy notes of this PuErh. The creaminess is, I'm still getting that warm bready note to it. I'm getting like white chocolate. It's sort of that sort of creaminess, light blonde, like a blonde brownie, you know, that sort of light chocolate creaminess. There is, interestingly, also some dark chocolate or cocoa, but that's after you swallow. So you start with this creamy white chocolate and mandarin, and then once you've swallowed, you get much more of the slightly bitter cocoa and a little bit more of those sort of mineral attic cavernous notes and some cask as well, some wooden cask, a bit of charred cask, all very, very gentle though, and all of those flavors from the white chocolate to the casky and cocoa are all coated with this sweet aromatic of mandarin peel. Or tangerine peel, I should say, because Chenpi is tangerine. And it is different. It's got a little bit more tang. It's got a little bit more of a sort of adult note rather than something that is maybe a bit more flowery. But there are floral notes in this. And I'm trying to work them out. And I would say again that it moves more into the sort of medicinal floral notes. So I'm picking up an aftertaste of chamomile flowers. I'm picking up more fruit. I'm picking up those apple sellers. I'm picking up hawthorn fruit. But that's as herbal as it gets in terms of sort of the Chinese herbal note. It's fruity. It's not woody. It's not those woody Chinese herbs. I love the presentation of this temple garden, the way it displays leaves. I'm just going to put that in the middle for me to enjoy. Second infusion, even more of those candied oranges. Dried hawthorn. That salty note that I was picking up before is there. It's like just when it first hits your tongue, you're getting a seasoned quality to it, like there's been a little bit of salt added to the white chocolate. But that moves quite quickly into a refreshing and sweet finish. And the finish, I'm getting those chamomile flowers, dried lemon peel. It's going to seem bizarre what I'm going to say, but it sort of reminds me of like butterscotch and caramel, but with a hint of either salt, which is not weird, but maybe a little hint of, it goes even more umami than that, a little hint of like miso, white miso, but very, very light in there, in the mouth, with all of that sweetness. So it's sort of like an adult salted dessert. Very, very easy drinking. Super easy drinking. You could quaff this very, very, very quickly. It would definitely be a great after meal addition. As we all know, PuErhs are wonderful for digestion, but with the addition of Chenpi, it's really good for your stomach as well. One more infusion before I take a quick break and we roll through some for body sensation. In my mouth, apple skins, apples. What else? There's more, there's much more going on here. Just finding it hard to articulate it right now. Color is getting richer and redder. Okay. I'm so glad I can finally release this tea. This has been a saga. It's been probably about a year, a good year of us. I don't know when we released Find Your Sunshine 1, but the moment we released it, well, after about a month, we were already looking for the Find Your Sunshine 2. It took us a long time to find the material. And then everything unraveled, as you saw. Yeah, more floral notes, chamomile, a little bit of chrysanthemum. So it's still in the sort of medicinal flowers rather than the sweet sort of bouquets. A little bit of lemon verbena. So it's got all of those lovely botanicals, but then that white chocolate and that caramel and that butterscotch, and then you get that bitter cocoa little finish towards the end on the back of the tongue, which dissipates into a sort of an apple sweetness. All right, let's smell the empty cup. See what we're getting here. Oh, sweet. Hotcakes drizzled with syrup. Charred bourbon casks. A little bit of chamomile on the nose as well. But predominance of sweet and deep, like those hotcakes are just slightly charred. Have been well cooked. PuErh Chocolat. You know how the PuErh Chocolat, the topping of the PuErh Chocolat, if it's got some of the chocolate sprinkles on the top, when it's baked, it can just have a little bit more of a dark baked chocolate note to it. That's what I'm getting, which is similar to that cocoa note. All right, I'm going to roll through a few infusions. We'll come back and check out the body sensation. This is the 6th infusion. Yes, I did notice after I stopped talking that microphone had popped into view, and I don't know when that happened. I guess it was pretty much at the beginning of me talking. So yeah, I was that distracted by the tea that I didn't notice that. So apologies for the little cameo of the microphone dropping in. The irony is I'm probably not going to be using that. That's just a backup audio in case this mic fails, but anyway, doesn't matter. Right. The body sensation on this is exactly what I want from a Chenpi PuErh. It's sort of moved both ways. It's settling. It's very digestive. It feels very soothing and comforting for my stomach and for my whole sort of constitution. I'm getting a nice light coating of perspiration to cool me down, but my mind is very bright, very clear, very light, and very focused. I can imagine this being a great one to work with as well. And the taste has actually I picked up a little bit of zesty rose. It's almost like the Chenpi has transformed a little bit from the orangey, but the zest of the Chenpi is sort of transformed into zesty sort of yellow roses with that white chocolate. Yeah. And again, that sort of brioche breadiness in there as well. Delicious tea. Right, let's check out these leaves. I've got my tweezers here. It's a great thing about this. You've got a little plate here that you can check out the leaves. You can see there's going to be plenty of infusions. We're about sort of a third of the way through here. Probably get 15 plus infusions out of this tea. Great. I mean, good ratios. Again, can't remember exactly what we decided, but you know, a nice proportion of this 2014 Xinhui Chenpi. I forgot to say that this is a Ruyao porcelain, so you can see you get that crackle effect. I've only used this maybe about 7 or 8 times. I'm already getting that sort of eggshell look to it. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? So it's going to transform as I brew, reveal my tea drinking history with this porcelain as it starts to stain with the tea and give that crackler effect. Find Your Sunshine 2. It has finally been launched. I can now put that to bed and focus on Find Your Sunshine 3 potentially. A different tea to Find Your Sunshine 1, more rounded, I would say a little bit more creamy than the original. which was more mineral, but you're still getting that quench, you're still getting that satisfying cleansing feeling. Check it out. I hope you enjoy it. If you pick it up, I know a lot of people were waiting for this one, so I'm glad we can finally release it. One last look at that cover because it deserves it, I think. Here you go. Find Your Sunshine 2. Finally in stock. That's it, tea heads. Check out our other videos, taste our teas wherever you're in the world by browsing meileaf.com, and come visit us if you're ever in London. Other than that, I'm Don from Mei Leaf. Thank you for being a part of the revelation of true tea. Stay away from those tea bags. Keep drinking the good stuff and spread the word because nobody deserves bad tea. Bye.